This is the story of Mirabel, and if you're smart, you'll never touch her. The sign said, "Estate sale, everything must go." Margaret Voss almost didn't stop, but something pulled her, quiet, insistent, like a hook beneath her chest. The house was a rotting Victorian at the end of Harrow Lane. Inside, it smelled like cedar, old paper, and flowers left too long in dirty water. She moved through room after room. China cups, brass candlesticks, stacked paintings nobody wanted. Then, she found the back bedroom, and in the corner, sitting alone on a wooden chair, separated from everything else, was the doll. Porcelain, 18 inches tall, dark braids, a faded red velvet dress, lips curved in a smile that was just a little too knowing for something that wasn't alive. But the eyes were what stopped her cold. Glass eyes the way all doll eyes are glass. Except, these ones didn't stare blankly like they should. They watched, they tracked, they caught the dim light of the room and threw it back at her like a warning. At the doll's feet, a small handwritten card. Mirabel, not for sale. Margaret picked up the card. Read it. Set it back down. Then she bought the doll anyway. $12. The woman at the register wrapped it in newspaper without a word. Her hands were shaking. She never looked Margaret in the eye. Margaret put Mirabel on her dresser, between a photo of her daughter and a little potted plant. She told herself it was charming, vintage. She went to bed. She woke up at 3:17 a.m. The doll was facing a different direction. She told herself she imagined it. She told herself she must have bumped the dresser. She told herself a lot of things. Then the doll blinked. Slow, deliberate. Those glass eyelids lowering and rising like it wanted her to know it was awake. Margaret turned on every light in the apartment and sat on the couch with her knees to her chest until sunrise. She did not sleep again. The next afternoon, her neighbor's cat slipped inside when she came home. She found it on her bedroom floor, 4 legs pointing straight up, eyes fixed open, staring at the doll. Dead. Cardiac arrest. Perfectly healthy cat. 7 years old. Margaret put Mirabel in the closet. Doris from down the hall knocked on her door the next Sunday, holding a pie and wearing an expression that was trying very hard to look casual. "I saw you come from the Aldrich house," she said. "You brought something back, didn't you?" "Not a question." "Over tea," Doris told her. Eleanor Aldrich had lived in that house for 60 years, alone. A collector of things she called significant. She died in the back bedroom, in the wooden chair where the doll always sat. When they found her 3 days dead, Mirabel was in her lap, both hands wrapped around it. They couldn't remove her hands. They buried her that way. But the doll was at the estate sale, Margaret said slowly. "They must have dug it up," Doris said, "or it found its own way out. Things like that don't stay buried, Margaret. They come back. They always come back." "Burn it. Tonight." She left without touching her pie. Margaret didn't burn it. She put it back in the closet and told herself she'd deal with it in the morning. At midnight, she heard knocking from inside the closet. One knock, then another. Then the door swung open on its own. The doll was sitting in the center of the closet floor. Newspaper shredded around it like it had torn its own way free. Dress perfect, braids neat, smiling. Then her daughter Lily showed up unannounced on Thursday, the way 22-year-olds do when they need laundry done. She dropped her bag and walked straight to the bedroom. "Mom, whose creepy doll is this?" Margaret came around the corner. Lily's hand was 3 inches from the doll's face. "Don't touch it." Lily pulled back, startled. "Okay, relax. It's staring at me, by the way. I hate it." That night, Margaret took the couch. Lily slept in the bedroom. At exactly 3:17 a.m., Lily gasped. Margaret was at the door before the sound finished. Lily sat up in bed, white as paper. "I watched it open by itself, Mom, and I thought I saw it stand up." Margaret packed them both into the car at 3:30 inches the morning and drove to a motel 6 miles away. She left every light burning. She left the door unlocked. In the morning, she went back alone. The closet was open. The doll was not inside it. It was back on the dresser, exactly where she'd first placed it. The succulent was dead, shriveled to dust overnight. The photograph of Lily was face down. She turned it over. It was a picture from Lily's graduation, taken 2 years ago. A photo Margaret had framed herself. Standing just behind Lily's shoulder, half hidden in the crowd, face turned toward the camera, was a small figure in a red velvet dress, dark braids, a faint, patient smile. Mirabel. In a photograph taken 2 years before Margaret had ever seen her, she traced the records. Every owner, every estate sale, all the way back to 1889, Prague. A toy maker of unusual gifts, known for dolls so lifelike that children were afraid of them. He had made Mirabel for his daughter, a little girl who died of scarlet fever the winter before at age 7. The daughter's name was Mirabel. She had been locked in porcelain for 134 years, passed from stranger to stranger, touching everyone, belonging to no one, looking for a father who was long dead, looking for a home that no longer existed. And from somewhere deep inside that hollow porcelain chest, Margaret heard it. A child, crying, soft, hopeless. The cry of someone who has been lost for so long they've stopped believing anyone is coming. Margaret was crying too. She didn't know when she'd started. She tried a priest. He left shaking and never returned her calls. She tried an investigator. His cameras wiped clean. He woke up with a nosebleed and no memory of the night. She tried fire, 40 minutes of flames. She came back outside, and the doll was sitting on the rim of the trash can, unburned, smiling. She understood then. There was no getting rid of it. She sat down across from Mirabel at the kitchen table. She was very tired. "Okay," she said quietly. "Okay." She picked it up. It was cold at first, impossibly cold, like something pulled up from the bottom of the ocean. Then it warmed, the way a child warms when you hold them, drawing heat from her body into itself. The cold moved up through her hands, into her arms, toward her chest, slow and steady, like water rising. The crying stopped. The doll's head turned slow, impossible, and looked up at her face, and those glass eyes focused. Margaret felt it happen, felt a 7-year-old girl look out at her from behind them for the first time in over a century. The smile changed. It was real now. Then the light went out. They found Margaret Voss 3 days later, her hands wrapped around the doll, her face peaceful, her eyes open, reflecting the light of the room the way glass eyes do, blankly, nothing looking out from behind them anymore. On the dresser, next to a dead plant and a face-down photograph, a small handwritten card. Mirabel. Not for sale. She's still out there. Don't touch her.